Theme park enthusiasts and the general public alike were saddened when it was announced in 2018 that the iconic Curse of DarKastle ride at Busch Gardens Williamsburg would be closing. And a lot of people speculated what would be going into this location, whether it would be another dark ride or if we would be looking at an indoor roller coaster. And according to BGW Fans, the latter is exactly what we're looking at. And while this is news that BGW Fans actually leaked back in late December of 2021, there's just been a big revelation that essentially confirms that this ride is happening. For those that aren't aware, back on the 30th of December of 2021, BGW Fans, which is quite reliable fan site that actually has leaked projects such as Pantheon, they basically leaked all of that before it was even announced, and I believe it was almost 100% accurate with how the ride turned out to be. But BGW Fans has essentially leaked what they are dubbing Project DarKoaster, which is a coaster that is going to be in Curse of DarKastle's old show building. And before I get into the big revelation that basically confirms that this is happening, I'm going to give a little background on exactly what BGW Fans here has leaked for us. So as many anticipated, this is going to be a family indoor launch coaster. More specifically, this is going to be a Intamin indoor launch coaster, and what's actually expected to be a quad launch coaster, and I'm going to get to how that works in a minute. But what's even more interesting is this is going to be utilizing Intamin's family launch coaster model. More specifically, what's basically the motorbike version of this, similar, it seems, to Wavebreaker, which is at SeaWorld San Antonio. So it's going to be utilizing a design similar to that of the Vekoma motorbike coasters, except this is an Intamin. Which, the fact that Busch Gardens has chose to go with Intamin goes fully in line with everything else. You know, they just worked with Intamin to build Pantheon. The leaked Drakenspire, that's also supposed to be an Intamin ride. So, it seems that SeaWorld Entertainment has been working, or rather wants to work with Intamin a little bit more. But basically, the whole ride layout is going to take place in the old show building for DarKastle. Now, notice how I noted that this is going to be a quad launch coaster, so it's going to have 4 launches. Now, what's interesting is this ride is actually only going to have 2 launch tracks. Now, how is this going to be a quad launch coaster? Now, this is not going to be some type of shuttle coaster like a Skyrocket, Tempesto over in the park. It's going to have the ability to run multiple trains. So how this is actually going to work is basically the ride circuit is going to be separated by switch tracks from the station platform. And as you can see in this picture that BGW Fans has providing this, is it's using these switch tracks. So you exit the station, you go through the layout once, then you use this little bypass track that brings you back around, you complete the layout once more, and then the last switch track switches to straight track instead of curved track, and that allows you to enter back into the station. So it's a very clever design that they're using here, actually, to kind of make it feel like that there's a lot more space in the show building than there actually is. So I actually like this. This is very clever. Now remember, since this is a show building that used to house a dark ride, the layout can't be be very tall. It can't have very large elements because it is the size of the show building for a dark ride. So I think the fact that they're using this switch track element is really going to make the ride experience a little bit more worth it. And instead of, because if that wasn't there, it would probably end up being a very, very short ride. Now, before I get into the more speculation side of this, I'm going to go over the new leaked info as of today, and that is that track has been spotted on site at Busch Gardens Williamsburg for this new coaster. Now, you may say, oh, maybe this is just replacement track for a current coaster. Well, if you look basically right with the track, you can also see a few supports. And it's very unlikely that they would be replacing track as well as supports, so this is most likely track for what's being dubbed DarKoaster. So basically this is turned from a rumor to basically just a unannounced coaster that's now confirmed that's happening. Now let's get more into the speculative side of this, to more into what we don't know about the ride and what I think will actually happen. So we know, it looks like it's going to be an Intamin. That would make sense considering that it seems that Busch Gardens just worked with Intamin for Pantheon, and it looks like, as we've seen in some other leaks, that they want to continue working with Intamin in the future. So we know that. We know that it's probably going to be this motorbike coaster design, similar to Jet Rescue at SeaWorld San Antonio. And then we know it's also most likely going to be this quad launch design utilizing these switch tracks. Now, one thing that is in question is the theme, and this is something that the article from BGW Fans actually talks about quite a bit, is how we don't know what the theme is. Now, they also mention how, Pantheon, most people were very upset, myself included, with how the theming looked on that, but it seems like they are actually going to theme this attraction decently well. Now, Busch Gardens, or rather BGW Fans, highlights how basically the entirety of the queue for the old DarKastle attraction has been preserved. So while the ride has been ripped out, the queue is actually still there. And part of the original castle wall facade is actually still there too. And it's believed that all of these aspects are going to be kept into this new attraction. So I think it's safe to say that it's probably going to still be staying within the storyline that's found within Curse of DarKastle. Now, one thing that I do question is I wonder what exactly this whole motorbike concept is going to be. The first thing I think when I think of kind of DarKastle is I think of horses, like you're trying to escape, DarKastle on like horses, and that you're riding these horses trying to escape. That's kind of what immediately comes to mind, and I think that is a decently good theory in my opinion. Now, one interesting thing is the fact that you're going to complete the layout twice. I wonder what theming you're actually going to see in the layout. And then since you're going through the same layout twice, are you just going to see the same theming again, or is there going to be some way that that's going to kind of change? I actually wonder if this is going to be like, say, with like Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind, where there's some screen interaction that would allow you to actually change what's happening on the second go-around through the layout, and to actually make it look like you're in a different part of the show building doing something completely different, when you're really just going through the exact same section of track again. So I actually wonder if, like the original Dark ride that was here, if there's going to be some screen integration. And then with audio, I actually have a feeling that there may be on-ride audio for this ride, similar to what you'd see on a motorbike coaster like Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure. Because I think if you have I think this being an indoor family coaster, you have this theme. I think if you're continuing to tell the story through the ride experience, I think the best way to continue telling that story is through on-ride audio, and that would be another thing that would make it similar to the original Dark ride, where the speakers in the original Dark ride were in your ride vehicle, and so I think it would be very fitting that that's another thing that they would keep. So overall, I think the theme is actually going to stay pretty similar, stay in the same kind of DarKastle realm to what we had with the original Dark ride. And quite honestly, there are minor things I could continue to speculate on, but really there's a lot of stuff here that's more confirmed fact than it is speculation, so I don't have a ton to speculate on as I would with some other videos. But overall, tell me what you think about this whole addition here. I think some of this that they're doing, especially with that switch track design, is very, very clever, so I'm interested to see what a lot of other people think about what Busch Gardens Williamsburg is doing here with their use of space, and especially if you're someone that goes to the park more often, if you've seen anything else happening on site, tell me about that in the comments below. So, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in another video. Bye.